Hey everybody, it's Mitch and welcome to my next video. Today we have got another Dungeons & Dragons Prestige class review. And today's Prestige class is the Ruathar. Now, we got a nice Ruathar right there. Boom. Now, these guys are an interesting one. It's only got 3 levels, which is a very short Prestige class. A full Prestige class would have 10 levels. This only has 3. I don't know of many Prestige classes that have less than 3. Actually, I think 3 is the lowest I've seen. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the smallest number of levels that a Prestige class has. So it's a very interesting one too. So this one, let's just talk about the requirements. That will really explain what this class is all about. So first off, the entry requirements are base attack bonus of 6 or skills, any skill 9 ranks, or ability to cast 3rd level spells. It doesn't even say arcane or divine. So with that is any one of those 3. So a base attack bonus of 6, very easy to get. You can get that as a melee class very easily. You can get that as other things as well. In addition, you also have skills, any skill 9 ranks. Come on, anybody can get that at level 6. You just max out one of your skills. That's super easy to get. Anybody can get that, even if you have a terrible intelligence. Just max out one skill and you're good. And it's higher than 6th level, you don't even have to max it out. In addition, the ability to cast 3rd level spells, easy enough to do. By 5th level, you'll have that for a lot of classes. So you can get that one a little bit earlier. That's probably the easiest way to get. That's the earliest way to get in. The other ones will require at least 6 levels. That one will only take 5. And in addition, though, here's the special one. This one is an and. What you have to do is you have to provide a great service to elves. So you have to either slay a monster that's been of 10th level or higher, or CR that's higher, was going after elves. Another option is to save an elf's life. You could also perform a great service to an elf or to elves. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. Basically, you have to do something big to help elves. Like the elves have to say, "Wow, you're a great guy. We like you." So that's how you could become a Ruathar. What happens is you actually have a nice big ceremony, which is actually a big part of it. So let's start off with that. You get a thing called Gifts of the Elves, which during the ceremony, the elves will present you with a gift. Not even a great one, it's an okay one. Either a +1 longsword or longbow appropriate to your strength. You could also get Boots of Elvenkind or Cloak of Elvenkind or Elven Chain, which, okay, those are interesting. They'll give you whichever one they think is most appropriate. So basically the DM is going to look at your character from the elves' perspective, which is generally a pretty decent perspective, and say, okay, what should we give him? What would be most useful for him? So the DM will basically give you whatever they think is most appropriate. They should try and do it from the elves' perspective, but honestly, it's probably going to be close to just what the DM thinks. Although, you know what? Maybe the other DM will be good, and, if the DM is really good, what they'll do is they'll look at what you've done in front of the elf community and see what they've seen you have, and use only the limited amount of information that the DM's gathered from the perspective of the elves. So that would be so that's kind of interesting. So it may or may not end up being the item that'll help you best. You can sell the item. You can give it away as well, although that's considered very bad manners. The elves probably would not appreciate that, although there doesn't appear to be any real mechanical downsides to it, but there are some definite downsides. Let's see, what else do we got? Spellcasting, every single level you can advance one of your spellcasting classes if you have one, so pretty good idea to have one of those. It's got an average base attack bonus, good reflex and will save, but bad fortitude save. Interesting that it's got a good reflex save. That's unusual for a casting class, which this one sort of is. I mean, it gives full casting, so I guess it counts as a full casting one. So that's unusual. What else? You get weapon and armor proficiency. So normally most prestige classes don't give anything in regards of weapon and armor proficiency. But this one will give you martial weapon proficiency in either the longsword, the rapier, or the longbow, or the great bow, or the short bow. Which, if you get the longbow or short bow, that does include composite. You also get something called Word of Friendship, which it's a special phrase in Elvish that also has a magical component to it, equivalent to a first level spell. Uh, Now, this spell, it doesn't actually do anything. Uh, it still is a spell, though, so other people can't, copy you. They can learn the words, but they can't get the magical component of it. So, unless they're actually a Ruathar. So, you know, kind of a cool thing. It'll just make elves like you more. They'll generally start off with a higher degree of friendship than they would otherwise. That's really the only advantage of that, which is kind of nice, actually. It makes elves like you more. You also get low light vision. If you already had it, then you get improved low light vision, so you'll just get low light vision twice as far. You also get something called Elfwise, which you get second level. That will just give you a +2 on spot, search, listen, just like elves. Now, third level, you get you get a couple of cool things. You get Star Blessing, which basically just gives you a +1 bonus on attack rolls and saving throws when under the night sky, which means outside and at night. So that's actually kind of nice. That can come up a fair amount, sort of. I haven't had a lot of night encounters outside, but it can happen, and it's easy enough to set up. Then there's Arvarder's Grace, which is interesting because it increases your lifespan by 50%, basically. So it makes all your age categories go up 50% longer than what they usually would be, as well as your roll for Venerable to see when you die, you have 50% more dice. So that's kind of nice. It really just extends your life by 50%. And the elves can get this too, so they get all this, everything stacks with their elf abilities. So that's really cool. They also get extended life, which makes them particularly long-lived. Honestly, this class, it's okay. Most of really cool things are things that don't come up all that often in a typical campaign. Most of it is things that will happen long after, like your lifespan. Normally a campaign, in terms of game settings, is only gonna last maybe a couple of months or a year or two at most, which lifespan doesn't really affect things too much generally, unless you're playing a particularly short-lived race like an orc or something else. Humans are they're short-lived compared to most, like elves or dwarves or gnomes or something, but they're still pretty long-lived races, at least when we're talking about, 1 or 2 years. That's not going to affect us. I mean, 1 or 2 years is not that significant to, a human in terms of lifespan. What's the difference between like 25 and 27? Not a ton. Same as, it's only a little bit. Doesn't really make a big difference. Another thing, some of their other abilities, like getting that gift, it's cool, especially if you go into it right at 5th or 6th level, or right at 6th or 7th level, so I should say. It's a decent item then, but even then it's already kind of underpowered compared to what you'd already have at that point. So, and it gets even worse as you level up because you get so much better stuff, and the amount of money it would cost to just buy this is chump change to you by high level. Word of Friendship, it's cool. You guys start out higher level, higher friendship with elves. Probably the best thing about this prestige class. Low light vision, again, that can be nice. It makes it so you can see in dim light but not dark, and twice as far if you already had it. Some bonuses on spot, search and spot and listen. Those are just checks that come up a lot, but a +2 isn't super significant. Then your bonus under the night sky. It's useful for night attacks. maybe a couple other things. Honestly, most of the stuff you get from this class is meh. It's not really the best unless you're going to be running. You really need the right campaign to really make full use of this. You're really going to want a campaign that is designed to go for a long period of time in terms of game years. Like a campaign that, your typical campaign, which is only going to run for maybe a year or two at most, usually only a couple of months. This isn't a great class. If you're doing a campaign where your characters are, where time actually is a major factor, where there's large year-long gaps of just years, this would actually be quite useful, especially if you're playing something like a human. So this would help counteract a lot of the effects of a lot of things. It could also be used in some interesting ways. It could be comboed with things like Timeless Body that I know monks and I think druids get. That would be useful. You take that, you get the Timeless Body, you wait, age up till Venerable, then you grab this. So if it's done in the right order, that can be useful. You get Timeless Body, you start out young, get Timeless Body while still young, age up to Venerable, then grab this so that you can live longer, so that those Venerable, you get another dice roll on how long you're going to be living, or possibly more if you're a longer lived race. That's useful in that regard. You know, it's got its uses, but again, as I say, most campaigns, it's not the most practical class to take. So keep that in mind. It's interesting for flavor. It's got more flavor than a lot of prestige classes, so that's cool. But yeah. Anyways, that's really all I have to say about the Ruathar. See if we got any other cooler pictures. Nope, just the one. So yeah. If you like the video, please give me a like. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. That should be right over there in the corner. Bang. Then on top of that, you know, please share the video so that your friends can see it, and that'll just help my channel grow. Anyways, as always, I'm Mitch, and I'll be seeing you.